I want to bring in Christie now, former New Jersey governor, all over this story. Governor, is that okay? The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and says, oh, this is going to last years? How many more children's got to be assassinated or pedestrians walking on the street? How many more Nazi signals have to be burned into bodies before we say this war is over? We don't have this type of time.
No, look, Brian, this is why the Biden administration blew this right from the beginning. They should have armed the Ukrainians and continued to do what the Trump administration was doing in arming the Ukrainians and ramped it up even more. We knew the Russians were coming. They've been saying that for more than a year, yet they didn't arm the Ukrainians, and now they're trying to rush and do it too late. And as a result, we're seeing thousands and thousands of people killed in Ukraine. It's a disgrace.
And as they uncover more and more of these cities, as they retreat to try to secure the South and the East, they're going to see more horror, including the murder of a mayor and her family. 50-year-old woman was killed and buried with her entire family right in front of what was the governor's residence. Or the mayor's residence. This is a moving, ongoing Holocaust in 2022. I thought we swore this would never happen again.
We did, and that's why we have to do even more than we're doing now to let the Ukrainians be able to defend themselves, to be able to repel the Russian invasion. We have to be giving them those MiGs,
not there yet.
Aircraft that they want, and we have to do that, Brian. And if we don't, the Russians are going to continue to do this.
Right. They got to stop taking natural gas immediately. We'll discuss that. But I want you to hear this exchange, and we'll expand from here. The Hunter Biden laptop is real. We knew that. Most clear-thinking people did. And it keeps linking more and more, closer and closer to the President of the United States. Listen to this exchange.
Is there any concern that they're not going to be necessarily seen as being able to make the decisions independently if the White House Chief of Staff is out saying that the President is confident his son did not break the law?
Well, that's something the president has said, and certainly we would echo. But in the same answer to that question, Peter, during an interview this week on ABC, Ron Klain also said the Justice Department is independent and they will make their own decisions.
And the president has said that he never spoke to his son about his overseas business dealings. Is that still the case?
Yes.
Right. Do you see what happened today in the New York Post today? Excuse me, it's a Fox News exclusive. It's in the Post as well. It looks like Joe Biden's been asked by the Chinese business partner of Hunter Biden to write a letter of recommendation to get that Chinese businessman's son into NYU, Cornell, or another distinguished or Brown University. So does it still seem separate to you?
No, look, this is very simple, Brian. The Justice Department cannot be able to do this in an independent way when the president and his people are saying some of the things they're saying. They should be absolutely silent on this issue. Instead, they're saying the things that they're saying publicly that you just talked about, and it calls into question people's feeling about whether or not the Attorney General appointed by the President of the United States can truly be independent in this regard. And by the way, we know what the Democrats would be saying if this were going on in a Republican administration. And so what we need is to get to the bottom of it. And let's face it, the media has been complicit in this. The mainstream media, and I talked about this on Sunday, the Washington Post and the New York Times and others turned their heads to this controversy during the campaign because they didn't want it to interfere with their narrative that Joe Biden deserved to be elected president. And now all of a sudden they're saying, well, the New York Post was right. When they messed around with this, Brian, you know what happened? The New York Times got a Pulitzer Prize, and the New York Post that was right, they actually got banned from Twitter. This is where we are right now, and we need to get to the bottom of it and get to the truth. And I think, that's the only way that the Biden administration survives this.
I just know the reporters know that they were told to stay off that story, and I saw that in their face when you confronted them on Sunday. The New York Times and Washington Post should be ashamed of themselves, and someone should go out and talk about that. But I know you're also getting ready to possibly run for president yourself. I know you're trying to help other people get elected and have a big midterm. Barack Obama was asked yesterday in his first visit back to the White House in years what the Democrats should run on in the midterms. Listen to this.
Mr. President, what do you say to Democrats worried about the midterm? What do you tell Democrats worried about the midterm? You got a story to tell, you got to tell.
You tell your story. You got a great story to tell. Do they?
I want them to follow Barack Obama's advice, and we'll get the same results we got in the midterms in 2010 and 2014 when he was president, romps by the Republican Party. Here's the story they have to tell. $5 a gallon gasoline, runaway inflation at the supermarket, critical race theory in the classroom, crime on the streets that is rampant in America's cities, a porous border that people are pouring over now, will pour even more if they continue to change policy and revoke Title 42. That and an awful withdrawal from Afghanistan and slowness in terms of defending the Ukrainians. Tell that story, and the Republicans are going to retake the House, the Senate, and we're going to have more than 30 governorships. And their biggest target in this entire race is Governor Brian Kemp down in Georgia. And let me tell you right now, he's going to be reelected the governor of Georgia.
First, he's got to win his primaries, but he's up significantly against Purdue in Georgia. And, of course, you're talking about the Democratic they're betting a lot on Stacey Abrams in Georgia. And if Stacey Abrams loses, it'll be devastating for him. Governor Christie, thanks so much.
Yep.
Always great.